kinda look like a demon, but I ain't no bitch. So catch these hands.
10 seconds later.
So yeah, that's basically how it went the first time I went to fight the boss, just without the confidence, you know, because I was 7 years old and that guy was scary. As a kid, I was always fascinated by this game and I always loved playing it. And I always kind of just assumed that people played it. But whenever I bring up this game to anybody, nobody even has heard of it. So I tried looking up like the sales numbers or how many copies were sold or anything like that, and I couldn't find it. So I just kind of assumed this game didn't actually sell that well in comparison to, like, say, Mario 64. So that might be one factor. Another factor is that it came out in '99, and that was kind of towards the end of the life cycle of the Nintendo 64. Though it was made by Konami. Konami at their prime. Looking at you, Metal Gear Survive. So yeah, with that said, this game is pretty nostalgic to me, and I wanted to play through it again, so I figured I'd make a video about it. Sure, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Grown man watching some cartoons in his underwear? I can relate.
The U.S. and Russian presidents
Watching some news? Can't relate.
Talks on the reduction of existing nuclear arsenals and are prepared to ratify the historic agreement that promises to be a giant leap towards world peace in New York City.
Voice acting just looks so good. Lip sync is 100% accurate.
Attend the ratification after some last-minute discussions with the Russian president, who's scheduled to fly in on the same day. In a press conference yesterday, a confident President Weller stated to the media that on the coming 24th, the United States and Russia should be delivering a very Merry Christmas present to the world. In other news...
Oh man, a Christmas present to the world. What beautiful foreshadowing. Oh man. For 99, this is some great cinematics, man. Beautiful, gorgeous, brave. Answers the door without putting something on.
Brief. Let's go over this one last time. The substitution of the president will be executed the day after tomorrow in New York City. You are not to leave the president's side no matter what. Everything depends on that moment when there's no one but our operatives around him. If we miss this chance, it will throw off the timetable for the invasion. We can't afford any mistake. One more thing, don't forget to make contact with Mr. Diaz in New York. He'll bring the tools and the weapons you need. That'll be all. Let's make this work. But man, put some clothes on, will you? And don't forget to act like a human once.
If he's underground, what's it matter if someone sees them talking to each other? And why wouldn't he open up with, man, put some clothes on?
Johnny, are you there? I guess you're out.
Is this the real Johnny or is this the fake Johnny?
But are you doing okay? Well, it's Christmas soon. The year's almost over. Johnny, you haven't forgotten our pact, have you? That we'll meet again this year under the Christmas tree in D.C. on Christmas Eve?
The real Johnny wouldn't
I don't care how late you show up.
be in on the swapping of the president.
I'll be waiting. Anyway, call me again when you get in.
But the real Johnny wouldn't be getting a message from her either. I'm so confused. He just initial D'd her ass.
あのさ、たくみくんちょっと聞いてよ。この前さ、ちょっとたくみくん。
Just someone who looks like him.
That man.
Oh man, I always love the sound of people dissolving as they wither away.
Why did you shoot?
Not now. There's something wrong with Mr. Diaz. We've got to get him below ground.
There's a witness.
The evidence is gone. Don't worry. They'll just think she's crazy. Crazy as hell, son. I always thought his jacket looked really weird. Looks like he's not wearing anything. It's like the same color as his face. Oh no! And somehow he floats. Not sure how he floated, but okay. This is quite the start to a video game, I must say. So yes, some spoilers ahead if you care about that. This game is 20 years old. The person you shot was a clone of Johnny Slater. And the person you play as in the beginning is supposed to be Mr. Diaz. But you come across these small little aliens called Gargantuans, and they reveal to you that you are actually Johnny Slater. They mask your memories and your body to look like Mr. Diaz to kill that person. And so you get your original Johnny Slater body back and your memories back. The Gargantuans actually hibernate for long periods of time, and one woke up and thought, hey, I'm gonna be a traitor, and piloted the ship to go into Earth and crash into it. And then he built a giant underground laboratory and came up with this plan to create clones of the president and people around the president of the United States so that he could create mass chaos and take over planet Earth, which is a great plan because humans love to kill each other. And so yeah, in the facility they created clones and they also created hybrids. Mr. Diaz was one of those hybrids. As a kid, I actually really liked Diaz, especially the real one who wore the orange tank top shirt. He always just seemed so badass to me. I really hate this guy. So yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the first hybrid that you come across. Dr. Bros. As you saw in the clip, I do not really care for him. His character is goofy as hell, and his boss fight is just very, very irritating. It took me 4 tries to beat him, and it took me an hour to do that because every time you die, you have to go through the entire cutscene again and then fight those 2 giant dinosaur looking type monsters again. So the first try, I just kind of learned how to beat the 2 dinosaurs, but the second dinosaur, you can't actually be on the door whenever he hits it for the 4th time because then you're just going to fall through the hole. So then the second time I realized that and I tried and failed again. The third time's a charm, I was actually able to get the hell out of the way and beat the second dinosaur. And then I go to fight Dr. Bros, And I realized after dying to him that you can't actually be far away from him, or else he'll just ice shot you and he'll freeze you and then just beat you to death. So 4th time, with my patience being very, very thin, I was actually able to beat both dinosaurs and then Dr. Bros. But God, well, that was an annoying nuisance. The only time I got irritated at the game. So yeah, the character is goofy and the music matches his goofiness perfectly. And I mean, honestly, he's a well-written character. He's just a character written to be hated. And the kind of crappy-like controls for running around doesn't help with the dinosaur monster-like fights. Real quick, Dr. Bros is actually the second hybrid you come across. The President clone is the first one you come across, but that battle was so insignificant that I didn't even think it was really worth mentioning. But yeah, anyways, back to the story. You go ahead, you kill the fake president, and then you get the real president back and you return his memories to him. And the 3-foot gargantuans tell you that you need to go ahead and get the navigator back, which is like the gargantuan who is controlling the ship and powering the ship, which again was crashed into the underground of Earth. On your way there, you come across Mr. Diaz, who killed a gargantuan who gave your name up, so, you know, he kind of deserved it anyway. And then Mr. Diaz swears he's gonna kill you, and proceeds to just walk away, which doesn't really make much sense to me. In fact, I don't even get why Mr. Diaz is so angry at Johnny Slater. Like, is he mad that Johnny Slater took the body of Mr. Diaz and killed Slater above ground, making him look like a traitor to the evil gargantuans and hybrids? Just kind of seems like a weird thing to be irritated about, because, you know, your fellow comrades, they know it wasn't you. But yeah, even not understanding his hatred towards Johnny Slater, I still always think Mr. Diaz is a badass. Kind of like how I always thought Shadow the Hedgehog was. And real quick, I will say, the point up until you meet Mr. Diaz, oh my god, dude. They needed to include a couple more saves. So, like, the area where you're fighting all of the robots, you would go over an hour without a save. And oh my god, dude, like, I didn't die during any of this point, but it's like I kept playing. I'm just like, where the hell is a save? I'm getting tired, I'm getting hungry, I want to do something else, but I had to keep going because I couldn't stop because there's no save. But yeah, anyways, the area where the navigator is, you have to go in a full circle fighting these demon-like things. All of them had the different elements. One was fire, one was water, blah, blah, blah. They were interesting. It was cool fights, and then you go ahead and you get the navigator, and he weirdly just, like, sticks himself inside of you. He's very erotic. So obviously the next step would be to go back to the gargantuans and be like, I got you, the navigator. Let's go. So you get there, and then there's just a woman on a table, and you're confused, and it was a trap set up by Mr. Diaz. He used a hybrid named Anna, so like he knocks you out and then brings you to this place. He was going to go ahead and shoot you and watch you burn up in flames for some reason. And the conversation was long enough, just enough for the building to start falling down, because with the navigator now in you, the power is not there, so the building is starting to like collapse, and he decides, oh, I can't shoot you, even though that would take 1 second. So you proceed to exit out the door while stuff's just falling on top of him, and he's just like, I will get you one day. Yeah, as you'll see, Mr. Diaz has opportunity after opportunity to kill Mr. Johnny, but he doesn't. If you ask me, I think he might actually secretly just be in love with Mr. Slater. So anyways, your adventure continues onwards, and then you come across 2 more hybrids. One of them was Anna, which is the person that Mr. Diaz used to trick you into knocking you out. She was having an existential crisis. She didn't know if humans deserve to live or the hybrids deserve to live. It was kind of a interesting take, and kind of shows like the diverse storytelling in this game in 1999, where most video games did not have much of a story at all, and if they did, it didn't really get this complex. So yeah, she ends up not fighting you or anything and just kind of runs away. And she was like the mother figure of all of the hybrids. She worked where all of the hybrids were born, or rather created. And that place was falling apart, by the way, because I took the navigator. So the hybrids that were, you know, babies and in the process of being created were failing and on its way to die. So for her not to fight you and just run away and abandon all of her babies and creations, it was pretty big thing. But yeah, the other one you come across is Jerry. Jerry, all he cares about is getting overground and living his life outside of this ship. And if that means all he has to do is kill you, then will try to kill you. So yeah, this brings you to the end of the game, and you have to fight person after person after person after person without being able to save. And since I fought everyone that I possibly could, my character was pretty strong and I was able to do it all in one go. I imagine if you have a weak character, that would be very, very, very frustrating, or if you're on like the hardest difficulty, man. So the first one is Jerry, and boy oh boy does he love to just shoot you over and over and over and heal and heal and heal. The enemies who just constantly shoot you is very frustrating. So after that, you have to go and fight Hunter, which is a hybrid that you've seen a little bit throughout the game, and then you have to fight Master. And he's the gargantuan traitor who piloted the ship to crash into Earth. The fight really wasn't that bad. He has infinite range, which could be kind of annoying, but he didn't have much health. So as long as you had enough health packets, I mean, it really didn't matter too much. Then it's like, hurrah, I beat the game, and everything seems to be going back to normal. And then the master comes out of nowhere. And yeah, he turns into this fat lard of an enemy. At first, I was kind of scared, but then I quickly realized you just have to stay to the side of him and attack his side. If you get behind him, his tail will hit you, and if you get in front of him, he'll just shoot fire at you. And then you're like, oh man, I finally won. Nope. The gargantuan is not dead yet, and he turns into yet another form. It's like he thinks he's Frieza or something. And so you go ahead and kill him, and it seems that he is finally dead. So then you get on this elevator with the president, the same elevator that you fell down in the beginning of the game as Mr. Diaz. And speaking of Mr. Diaz, whatever happened to him? Oh wait, there he is. And yeah, this is the final fight. You and Mr. Diaz. It's been building up throughout this entire game, and here it is. It's Goku versus Vegeta, Sasuke versus Naruto, Sonic versus Shadow, the Yellowing Brothers versus Father. So yeah, with that said, I think Mr. Diaz was the perfect last battle. The president came back down for you. You get on the elevator with him. He's like, yo, I knew you'd be alive, because Mr. Diaz was kind of like a bitch. He didn't say that, but he implied that. And so you go up, he thanks you profusely, and then you're back at the train station. He thanks you for your service, relieves you of your duties, and says that he can't wait to get back to his wife, but he has one thing to take care of real quick first, but says he can't ask you for any more help, and that you need to go see your girl. So you go on your way, and you find a taxi, man, and you need to make a quick stop to get some clothes, and then you see that the president knocked out the fake president above on the television on live TV, and no one thought a thing about it, I guess. Though you know all the conspiracy theorists out there are gonna go nuts. So yeah, you get yourself a nice little jacket, and then you go see your girl. And she's waiting by the tree in Washington, D.C., even though she thought you died. Man, where do I find one of these kind of girls? Mine being on another man's dick already. So yeah, kind of a stereotypical happy ending, but a beautiful ending nonetheless, and I couldn't have thought of another way for them to end the game. I actually really did like how they ended the game. It was really satisfying and kind of brought you back to Earth, because the underground just did not feel like realistic. But then once you get above ground, it kind of shows New York in the early 2000s/90s. I don't know why, but I found the taxi driver to be just kind of funny. And the cutscene graphics are oddly just really satisfying to me. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy VII cutscenes. So yeah, there's the story of Hybrid Heaven. If you ask me, it's a really beautiful story and a great story for a video game in 1999, because like I already said, in 1999, you did not see much story at all. in video games. So with that said, I honestly think the story is a 10 out of 10 for when it came out. And this isn't a perfect game, don't get me wrong, it has its flaws. The walking can be a bit funky, and that can make some parts a big pain, like what I was saying with the Dr. Bros fight, which also includes earlier when you had to just keep running away from that monster before you actually had to defeat it. And there was that one small area that didn't have a save for over an hour, although that was only that one area, so it wasn't like the whole game. But yeah, the game is pretty solid. Like, there is no bugs, no unfair bosses, or anything really that would make it unplayable or even unrecommendable. The fighting mechanics I haven't seen in any other type of game, and I really enjoyed the fighting mechanics. I think if you like Nintendo 64 games, this is definitely one you should try. Keep in mind I play games really slowly, but I put 17 hours into this game to beat it once. They have harder difficulties, so you can go and play the game multiple times. And they have a battle mode too, where you can load your character up and just fight after fight after fight, and it progressively gets harder and harder. I put on some music and did that earlier, and as a kid I did that too. I would listen to music and just fight dudes. I remember doing the battle system with my brother back in the day, and my character was always so weak, so it was always an unfair advantage, and he would just usually like one or two shot me. So yeah, this game really does hold a special place in my heart, alongside a lot of other Nintendo 64 games. And I hope you guys give this game a fair try, and that you guys enjoy this video as much as I did making it. I had a blast playing through this game again and having that nostalgia trip. So yeah, this was my Hybrid Heaven Retrospective. New videos every Saturday. Smash that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out, and if you like this video, make sure to sit on that thumbs up button, and have a good one. Till next time.